What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right. Before I get into the video, I remind you guys, as always, if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed to Too Raw for TV, please subscribe to Too Raw for TV. If you haven't hit that notification button, hit that notification button so that you'll be notified of any and every video that drops on this channel as soon as it drops. And also, if you like or at least appreciate the content of this channel, please hit that like button. These are things that will help not only my channel, but other channels in the LDBC, in this case, the Lions Den basketball community, be that much better. And also, if you want to show love to Too Raw for TV, if you want to contribute, you can do so in the links in the description box below. And also, if you want to come over to the Patreon, I strongly suggest you come over to the Patreon, because over there on Patreon, I'm able to talk about stuff I can't talk about on YouTube for obvious reasons, censorship reasons. You know, they're cracking down on channels. And over there on the Patreon, we'll talk about stuff like social issues, politics, issues that are important to us, controversial topics. And I try to keep the price as low as possible because I know people have bills they got to pay. People got expenses. So I keep it to $2 per month. You know what I'm saying? $2 a month. So go to the Patreon. I think everybody's come over there. So far, it's close to 60 people that have come over there. I personally thank everybody that comes over there when you join up. And I can thank everybody that's contributed to this channel over the past several months. And I've just cracked 23,000 subscribers. So thank all of you that's come over here. Now, I want to just give a shout out to Vince Carter. There's nothing he's done in particular. You know, at this stage of Vince Carter's career, he's just really in Atlanta to be a mentor to people. You know what I'm saying? He still contributes, but, you know, he's no longer, his superstar days are long gone. Like, I don't think this guy's been an all-star in maybe a decade, I'm thinking, or something like that. The last team I remember him being like a sizable contributor to, like when I say sizable, I mean like even a fringe all-star player, was maybe when he was with the Mavericks, I'm thinking. Or was it Orlando? One of the two. Since then, he's transitioned to being more of a role player. And now he's just a fringe player. Matter of fact, I don't even know if you want to call him that. So if you're a younger dude, if you're young, like 20, 21, and you watch Vince Carter, and I know in the back of your mind, you're like, why the fuck are they praising this bum? You know what I'm saying? But, hey, you know, 15 years from now, you can be watching a guy that you remember when he was a star, and, you know, some young heads then gonna disrespect him, like, hey, wait a minute, man. Whoa, 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 whoa. Luka Doncic in his prime was a beast. Oh, man, Luka, this nigga a bump, man. This nigga on the bench. Gonna play 5 minutes, shawty. What are you talking about, Nick? Hey, man, you know Luka averaged a triple-double for 4 years in a row almost? Ah, man, he ain't doing shit now. This shit's cyclical, man. I remember when I was growing up, I honestly couldn't figure why they were praising guys like Adrian Dantley and Alex English when they was languishing in Dallas. I remember like a couple of games, I would see them and, you know, they looked like they were shells of themselves. I'm like, you know, I don't see the big deal. 'Cause I didn't get it because I was a little stupid-ass kid. But I wanted to take this picture, man. I wanted to use this picture. It's back in 2000. This is the Vince Carter we all remember. This is Vince. And it's kind of amazing, man, when you look back at how long this guy's been playing. I was watching this guy in college. When I was in high school, I was in fucking high school. Had a fucking little mini afro and shit. You know what I'm saying? Beard first starting to come in. This motherfucker was in high school. Now I'm middle-aged, I'm balding. I got gray in my fucking beard and shit. This dude's still playing. So this guy's been playing from the 90s, because he came in the abbreviated 98-99 season, that 50-game season. He playing throughout the 2000s, throughout the 2000 teams, and here we are in a couple of days transition to 2020, right? Another decade, and this will be his 4th actual calendar decade being an active NBA player. So he came in at the very tail end of the 90s, all the 2000s, all the 2000 teens and actually creeping into 2020s. Amazing. I'm looking at the all-time games played list, and right now he's fourth. Excuse me, he's fourth. A couple of games ago, he passed John Stockton, who played in 1,504 games. John Stockton is fifth all time. Vince Carter has played in 1,508 games. And barring injury, Dirk Nowitzki is next. He will pass Dirk Nowitzki. He's not going to reach Kareem Abdul-Jabbar because this is his last year. Unless he changes his mind, but I doubt it because he already announced this is his last year. So this guy's going to be most likely at the end of this season, third all time in games played with 1,500 and something. You know, so his longevity is incredible, and his humbleness and his willingness to sacrifice for the betterment of a team is very laudable. You know what I'm saying? It should be commended because many guys, their egos get in the way. Like they still have this superstar prima donna mentality, and they don't want to step aside and let younger talent develop. They still want that shine. They still want that glory, that admiration. Now, I have to say this though. Part of that ego or lack of ego may have been what held Vince Carter back a little bit as a player. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to look at Vince Carter, his best years. Like right now for his career, and of course these last few years have hurt his averages. But for his career, he's averaging 17 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Okay, so the last few years and 1 steal. The last few years have really hurt his overall averages. But I want to look at Vince Carter's numbers all the way through, I'd say 2010. Well, I'll say 2009 because the last year he averaged 20 points per game. When you look at his best years, which is the first half of his career, he averaged 23.5 points, 5.5 rebounds, 4.3 assists, 1.2 steals, and he was 45% overall from the floor, 38% from three, and about 80% from the foul line. And he's kept that 3-point touch. That's the last thing, that's something that he kind of always had was an outside touch. Looking at his career, yeah, with the exception of his first year, he's always shot over 30% from the foul line. Generally, he's been he had 1 year where he didn't shoot it very well, 2014-15. But other than that, every year he's been a knockdown 3-point shooter. He's had 1, 2, 3, 4. He's had 4 seasons where he shot over 40% from 3-point range. So, like I said, he's always been a great shooter. He's always was a great scorer. His athleticism, I mean, we all look. That's what he made his name for. He's pretty much seen as the consensus greatest dunker of all time. Some people might put Dominique Wilkins up there, but I think it's Vince Carter. I mean, what we saw in that All-Star game in 2000, the dunk contest, was legendary. I mean, absolutely legendary. But as I said earlier, part of what made him such a selfless player and made him, help to contribute to his longevity is what held him back a little bit. He admitted that there were some games when he was with the Raptors that he didn't work as hard. Maybe he wasn't as focused as maybe a guy like Kobe or some of these other. He didn't have that competitive, like a Kevin Garnett. He didn't work on his game constantly like a Tim Duncan. He didn't have that nasty that Shaq had. That's what held him back a little bit when the league was really trying to push him as the star. If you guys remember, I'd say about 2000, 2001, going into 2002, that was a time when they really was pushing Vince Carter as the face of the league. This was the post-Jordan era. Jordan had retired from the Bulls. This is just before he came back with the Wizards. They thought they needed a new Jordan. And with Vince Carter, there were parallels. He was a shooting guard. Jordan was a shooting guard. All right. Both were listed as 6'6". Both had the bald heads. Both came from North Carolina, as far as college is concerned. Both were known for their aerial assaults, their uh, the creativity in their dunks. Not just power dunks like Sean Kemp and Dominic Wilkins, but it was creativity with their dunks. Vince was a little bit more powerful to me with his dunks than Mike, especially the older version of Mike. Um, and like I said, the high hang time, it was there. The thing that was missing from Vince Carter though is he didn't have the work ethic that Jordan had, and he didn't have the drive, like I said, to work on all aspects of his game as Mike did. And also, as Vince's career progressed, uh, well, I take that back. He did work on his outside shot, but there were certain aspects of his game he didn't really work on like he should have, and especially on the defensive end. And also, he was kind of resistant to that image. Like, as he went along in his then New Jersey Nets career, when he was with the Nets, when he was making noise, Vince kind of went away from dunking as much, and he became more of a jump shooter. And he became a little bit more, well-rounded as a basketball player, but he wasn't as exciting to watch to me. He wasn't as exciting to watch, and he didn't want to be defined as just a dunker, and he wanted to be seen as an all-around player, which is fine. You know what I'm saying? But you could just see the difference by 2005, 2006 in Vince Carter and a guy like Kobe and shit, even Tracy McGrady. You know what I'm saying? But it is remarkable at age 42 that Vince Carter's still playing basketball. So, it's still remarkable. This year, he's only shooting 34% from the floor. I think he's shooting only 29% from three. So, yeah, he's clearly diminished as a basketball player. He's only averaging 5.3 points. So, yeah, he's clearly diminished as a basketball player. But to be still playing his age is remarkable. On January 26th, he will turn 43 years old, and he made his NBA debut on February the 5th, 1999. And yeah, so there you have it. He was originally picked by the Golden State Warriors in the 1998 draft. I think he and Antoine Jameson were switched, if I'm not mistaken. It was a swap between those guys. And the rest is history, you know what I'm saying? I still remember. The one thing that I always will remember with Vince Carter, though, was one of the most exciting playoff series I've ever witnessed as a basketball fan. And the last 29, 30 years I've been watching basketball, NBA basketball. And that was at 2001. I think it was a semifinal series between the Raptors and the Sixers. And it was the guy that most people saw as the leading candidate for MVP that year. And ultimately, he accepted that trophy during that series, Allen Iverson and Vince Carter, whether Vince Carter would step up to the competition. And what I remember is that's still the only series I can remember where there was three individual 50-point games in the series. Two by Allen Iverson, a 52-point game and a 54-point game, and a 50-point game by Vince Carter where he put on an aerial display. It was a remarkable series that went down to the wire, went to the seventh game, and literally went down to the last shot. There's certain parallels between that series and the series we saw last year with the Raptors and the Sixers. And it was almost like revenge. Like in 2001, Vince Carter missed a turnaround fadeaway jump shot. It went off iron, and the Sixers went on the win in 7. This time, however, a guy named Kawhi Leonard in a situation shot was a little bit further out, a little bit more difficult shot, but it went in. Well, eventually. So it was like an atonement for that miss. So that's all I got to say about that, man. Just want to talk about Vince Carter for a little bit, man. Still playing in NBA. So we have to, cherish the last few games that he will be playing. And just want to remember him back when he was in his prime. Half man, half amazing. Vince Sanity.